you got to focus on your pain. What is it that you're trying to solve?
Welcome everyone to another episode of The Real Estate Path. I'm your host, Jim Lee. This show is about the real journey, not some highlight reel that you see on Instagram. Because success in real estate is not about luck or fancy suits. It's about failing offers, blown budgets, and the guts to keep going when everyone else taps out. Whether you're new to the game or seasoned pro, we're here to deep dive the wins, the losses, and the lessons behind each real estate journey. Today, I have a very special guest with us, Michael. Welcome, Michael.
Hey, man. Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I am super excited to have this guest with us today because you're going to get so much value out of today's episode. So, Michael, can you give us a context into how you got into real estate? What inspired you to get into real estate?
So what got me into real estate, it was actually my dad. So my dad came from Mexico. He's a gardener. Mom was a house cleaner. And 7, 8, 9, 10 years old growing up, he would always tell me, he was like, real estate, mijo. Like, I don't know how you do it, but you got to get into real estate. And I didn't know, but as I grew older, I later found out that there's like families divided in half. So it's like the construction workers, the house cleaners and all that. And then I had this other side of the family I didn't find out about until like I was mid-20s, where they're all like real estate millionaires. And I didn't find out about it until I was in my mid-20s. It's like, oh, that's why my dad wanted me to get into it, because he had seen it happen. He just couldn't figure out how to do it. And then mentorships, this and that, I got into real estate.
Wow. Okay. So it started with your family. And then from there, you got through mentorship. Did you get any education? Like, did you read any books, learn anything online?
So before I did any real estate stuff, I went like the traditional route, graduated high school, went to college. I was actually a nurse, and then I did like trade school, then did the whole thing. It wasn't until I was an ER nurse in 2020, I started doing travel nursing, that I started getting some money. And I was like, every time I would get my tax returns, I was like, all right, I need to do something, right? So then I joined like a Meet Kevin mentorship, or I did like Bigger Pockets and I bought their books and I read it. And then it wasn't until I joined like Pace Morby's group, the SubTo community, that things kind of like, oh, okay, this is kind of the mentorship that's showing people the way on how to do it. And then through that network, I met my partner Abdul, Emmanuel, and other people like that. And a couple years of struggling, not really seeing anything happen for the first 3 years. And then after that, it just kind of started taking off.
So lots to unpack there. I love your story. You were a nurse, and then you transitioned to become now full-time real estate?
Yeah, full-time real estate.
Okay, yeah. So you transitioned over. So for people that currently are in the W-2 situation, walk us through how you were able to make that transition, because I think that's something that everyone struggles with.
A lot of us that are in the medical field, usually something happened to us when we were kids that like resulted in us wanting to take care of people, right? So my family, like everyone's type 1 diabetic, type 2 diabetic, cancer, sudden heart attacks, just like somebody abruptly passes away and there's like pain associated to that change. So growing up, seeing that, being in the hospital with my uncle being in uncontrolled diabetes and all that stuff, even the cousins that were my age developing type 1 diabetes, and my aunt, my tia, not knowing that you're not supposed to give them orange juice because it makes the situation worse, made me get into the medical field. So I went down that path to try to solve that problem, to try to figure out how I can make that pain go away. What ended up making me transition from nursing medicine to real estate was that when I was an ER nurse in 2020, my grandparents got COVID. And they were in Mexico, and they were like at 7,000 feet elevation, and nobody had the money to take care of them. Nobody had the skills to take care of them. So I had a moment where I was dropping off my kids at my mom's house, and she was crying, and she was like, why isn't anybody doing anything? And I didn't have the money to take care of them, but I had just gotten my tax returns that year. So when I dropped off my kids and I was heading to the ER, I had the thought, I'm like, dude, nobody can do anything. Like, nobody can do anything in my family except me. And the second that thought left my head, I dropped everything. I went to my nursing managers. I told them, yo, I got this problem. I got to go. Anyways, I was on the next flight out of LA to Guadalajara. And then I spent the next 2 weeks nursing my grandparents back to health. And the whole time I was there, I was so grateful for that $7,000 tax refund check that I got. And I was thinking, I was like, all right, I'm an RN. I'm in the ER. I make good money, but I had this one family emergency. And financially, if it wasn't for my tax returns, my grandparents wouldn't be here. And my whole family, they tried to like bring money together and send it over, but it took them like a month. It took them a month and a half. I was in and out in 2 weeks. I went there, took care of them, made sure they were better. And when I got back, that gave me a new pain. So that pain was what made me decide, like, I got to figure something else out. Nursing is great, but I need something where money's not an issue. I paid my bills. I'm like, I'm surviving, but I'm not thriving is what I started saying. I'm surviving. I'm paying the bills, paycheck to paycheck. I had status, but it just wasn't enough. And with whatever was left over, I saved up some more money. I started travel nursing actually because of that. So I left my W-2. I switched over to 1099 travel nursing and Pace Morby, masterminds, books. I used it to get into doors to meet people like you, to meet people like like Abdul, Pace Morby, Jamil Damji, all those guys. So really, to help anybody who's in the medical field right now transition into real estate, you got to focus on your pain. What is it that you're trying to solve, right? And usually it's financial, but like, why financial? For me, it was like, okay, my grandparents got sick. I got lucky that I got paid $7,000 and I used that to take care of them. But what happens if my dad needs surgery? What happens if my mom needs surgery? What happens if my dad has a heart attack? Like, or my dad gets dementia and I have to pay for all these bills that come up with that? Nursing won't give me that. So I started knowing people in real estate. And the idea was like, I want to be able to have so many houses that if I need to sell one to pay for my mom's care, I want to do it without even thinking about it. That was the thought. I'm like, I want to have enough houses that if anyone in my family needs a room, is on the risk of being homeless, I don't want it to be a burden on me, that I'm going to be able to take care of them. And if I have to sell 2, 3, 4 houses to do that, I want to be able to do it from now till like 30 minutes from now. Call an agent. Hey, I'm selling my house on Main Street. Why are you doing it? I want to take care of my mom. My mom has surgery. I need to pay for this, this, and that. That's really what drives me. I want to acquire enough wealth that I don't second guess taking care of my mom or my dad.
Yeah.
And when I was a nurse, I couldn't think that way. It was just like, how many shifts do I have to pick up?
Yeah.
Right? How many days away from my family do I have to be? So that's what really pushed me into like, I got to figure this out.
So you've discovered your why.
Yeah, I was poor growing up. Not the poorest of the poor, but I hate that feeling of bills being due and like, dang, I'm gonna have like $5 left over after I pay everything. Or I hate the feeling of my daughter like wanting to go to Hawaii or whatever, the little thing, and then like I can't take her there.
Yeah.
They want to go eat here, but I'm like, oh, the dollar menu's over there. You know, like yeah. So it was just I hated that constraint of not having the financial resources that I wanted just to live my life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing. That was very powerful. Yeah. So talk about that. You discovered your why, you found your purpose, and then you just went after your dream. And now you have built a community where you mentor 30 plus people.
Yeah.
You are just killing it out there. So kind of tell us how you transitioned from being a nurse to where you're at today.
What I have today, I couldn't have built it without having to go through all my nursing experience. So I love the ER. I love emergency medicine. What I tell people now is I transitioned from emergency medicine to emergency real estate, like I was telling you the first time that we talked. In the sense, because we market to people that are in foreclosure.
Can you describe that for the audience? I think it's brilliant. The analogy of how you take that as an emergency nurse, and the skill set, the structure, and you apply it in your real estate business.
So if you guys are in the medical field, especially if you're in the ER, essentially take your typical ER, you have your waiting room, people are outside, they come in, they talk to the clerk, they get triaged by an RN, and then that nurse then determines, all right, are they going to go to this wing, that wing, or this, based on their level of acuity, which is how sick they are. And I treat clients the same way, where because we deal with foreclosures, there's a lot of homeowners that, like just yesterday, there's 3 foreclosures that we're stopping for this week. And we made contact with them just yesterday. They come in, usually somebody at the door or whoever makes contact with them I've trained them on how to determine the level of urgency. So they're like, all right, this one, sell date's in 2 days. They're ready to sell. They're trying to save it. Who do I have to bring in? So they'll either bring them to myself or Abdul or anybody else on the team. And then from there, we then further triage them to be like, all right, do we have to get our attorney involved? Do we have to contact our probate attorney? You know, what do we have to do? So I've trained people on recognizing in the medical field, we call it like ESI level. It's like a 1 through a 5. Like a 5, it's like, those are your FSBOs, homeowners that want to sell, but there's real no pain for doing it. And it's like, yeah, you take some Tylenol, I'll see you later. And then all the way down to like your level 1s, where it's like, all systems go, stop what you're doing. We have somebody who's on the table about to flatline. All the attention in the world needed there. And it's really helped me train myself and also train everybody on the team. Because when you walk into real estate, they say, you know, build your team. They say, talk to motivated sellers. They kind of tell you, but they don't. So I had to try to figure it out. I was like, what is a motivated seller? And then I really found out it's like, what type of client really do need our services? Because not everybody, we're not for everybody, not everybody's for us. But that training of emergency medicine, just how do you run an ER? I've taken it into our real estate business and systems and procedures and all the things, and everybody loves it. Everybody loves it. It gives them clarity. Like, what do we need to do? And yeah, so I mean, I can talk for like 2 hours on that, you know, the closer formula and all the things that we got to do.
Yeah. So they can definitely find out more about you after this show, but go ahead and continue your thought process on how did you go from transitioning from being a nurse to building an empire of 30 people that you mentor. You have a team that's constantly knocking on doors for you, sending you deals. How's that going? And what's your vision for the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah. For about like 2.5, 3 years, like nothing happened. Yeah, so I'm doing like the travel nursing stuff, and I'm like doing what everybody does, where it's like I'm studying the game and what is ARV and how do I underwrite a deal and what's a comparable and all that stuff, and SubTo, Wraps, Creative Finance, all like the bells and whistles. And then I joined different teams, right? And then it was like they kind of give you some guidance.
So you orbit around people within the SubTo community, just, whether it's learning Wraps, SubTo, Creative Finance, all kinds of different types of asset class and
all that stuff. Bigger pockets, A class neighborhoods, B class, C class. So I spent a lot of time just, I don't want to say wasting time, but like if I would have made knocks or like gone knocking or made some calls, I spent a lot of time just educating myself.
I wouldn't say it's a waste of time. I think it's self-discovery, right? Because I had to go through the same process too. Yeah. I was a realtor in 2018. I was mentored by a flipper. So I did flipping as well, but I found out I don't like it. And I started doing wholesaling. And then the pandemic hit. And I realized I couldn't do any of it. And that's how I got into multifamily syndication, because one of my investors introduced me to syndication. And once I discovered that, I found my purpose. And that's where I'm like, you know what? I know how to do all of these, but I can just be a connector today. So that's how I found my path. Got to try things out.
Yeah. I tried the low equity, no deals. I tried agent outreach. I even tried syndication for a little bit after we had a meetup with Gina, was it Vina Jetty? Vina Jetty. She got me all hyped up. Oh, I'm going to raise money. And then I was just like, that's not really my thing. But so I joined, I had people reach out to me in SubTo that were local. I had a great mentor, Michael Carcamo. He's actually a fix and flipper in the area. Great guy. But he taught me how to underwrite. He taught me about fix and flips and all that stuff. And then eventually we had deals happen, and then we had deals not happen. And then there came a point where I wasn't really happy with the leadership that was in front of me. And it's not that they are not bad leaders. Maybe they just weren't the leader for me. Right. And I'm a natural leader. Like I go into a room and I want to talk. Hey, I got something to say. So one of the things that I was really trying to figure out was like, how do I do it? I wasn't making any money in real estate. Family, the wife was kind of starting to question, hey, I think you should give this up. I think you should really just focus on nursing. I had a nurse practitioner come up to me. She go, hey, so what are you going to be doing next? And this is like 2 years into me telling everybody, I'm going to be a real estate investor. Nothing happening. And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, yeah, well, you've been at this for a while. Like I figured you've given it up. Like, what are you doing now? And I'm like, no, I'm doing the same thing. Like, I'm not going to stop, So I got lucky that my business partner, Abdul Latif, he doesn't do social media, but the one post he did, he flashed a check for $80,000. And I reached out to him and I was like, bro, what are you doing? You're doing something. You obviously have money. What's going on? And he told me, he goes, you know what? No, dude, I'm door knocking. He used to do door-to-door sales before, not in real estate. And then he started doing door-to-doors in foreclosures. So I was like, can I follow you? Can I shadow you? Right. And day one, second door that we hit, house was abandoned, trash all over the house. We could peek in the window and you see like it's all empty. He reached out to one of his partners and he was like, hey, I had this house, 123 Main Street. It's abandoned. Can you find the owners and send me their numbers? So he had his own little system. He's out in the field. He has somebody in HQ and then they do all the numbers and the whatever. This person found the number. He called them, was talking to the son. Their sale date was under 24 hours. And he was like, hey, I want to buy a property. Like, what's going on? And we were going back and forth. And right in front of me, he calls somebody else up. He goes, hey, I got the sales for tomorrow. I need $300,000. Can we wire it if, we pull the trigger? And the guy's like on the phone. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I got $300,000. I'm ready to go. And I'm like, dude, who is this guy? Like, he has systems, right? He has this house. Somebody gave him the number. He needs money. He called that guy. And I was like, oh, this guy is doing the thing. And we didn't end up getting the deal, but we stayed out until like 10:30 trying to like, are we going to meet up in person? Are we going to do the contract? And it was like the most excitement I had in real estate. I was like, dude, this is fun. I'm in the car with Abdul. We're driving all over Inland Empire and he's a cool guy. And we're just talking stories and you're trying to make money together. And I was like, this is fun. This is way better than sitting at home, getting yelled at over the phone, getting hung up on. And then just like, there was like no excitement for me at home. But here I was like, dude, I'm in a different neighborhood. I'm seeing this, I'm seeing that. I talked to Abdul and I was like, bro, what are you doing? Like, cause you're training me, you're training other people. Like, what's your business model? And he was like, oh, I'll train people. They'll go out and door knock and then maybe hopefully they'll bring me a deal. And I was like, okay, so I'm like, but where's the chat? Like, where's the community? Because from Pace Morby, where's the community? Like, where are you kind of rounding these people up? And he was like, oh no, I'm not doing it. I'm just doing that. And I was like, okay. That's when I was like, okay, there's an opportunity for me to do business with you. Like, I can bring value to you. So I had a previous community that I let go. Everybody that he started training, I'm like, yo, everybody you train, give me the number. I'll call them and we'll put them on Discord. And that's how we slowly started doing it. How I knew knew we had something going was I gave out a list of 30-day sales, and this guy, Swan, who's over in the Valley, I tell him, yo, man, here's this list. Go out there, create some chaos, and then call me when you have a problem. So that's what he did. 3 days later, he calls me. He goes, hey, Mike, I got this lady. Her sale date's in like a couple of days. She's looking to sell. What can we do? I was working in the ER. I underwrote it. I called Abdul and I was like, bro, can you go? And we haven't done a deal together. So I'm like, hey, I got a hot lead. It's over here. Can you go and do your thing? So Abdul is the type of guy that his word is as good as any written contract. So if he says, yo, I'm going to do this, this, and this, like it's done. He's going to get it done. Abdul got the property under contract, and this happens a lot in real estate. People steal your deal, right? We're so nervous about giving out addresses.
Yeah.
And
especially in the wholesale world.
100% in the wholesale world. So what ended up happening was I gave Abdul the address, and I was so desperate for a deal. I was like, I didn't even think about getting a JV contract. I didn't think about anything, but I just got lucky that Abdul runs in the same circle as us in the SubTo community. We ended up wholesaling that property, and we made $200,000 profit on a wholesale. We double closed it. And this is when I knew, like, I don't know the market, which is a good thing. Cause I'm like, cause in my mind, I thought we had locked it up at like 70% of ARV, but somebody else thought different. So we do that deal, no paperwork. Literally, Abdul gets paid, and then he cuts us a check to Swan, who generated the lead, and then me for connecting them, and it even split. And then I remember getting that check. We did double close. So, you know, we paid some fees, and I think at the end of it was like $67,000. Biggest check I had seen in my life. I was like, I remember I looked at it, I looked at him, and I was like, brother, in my head, I was like, I'm going to bring you so much business, man. You're going to be so busy. But I had no idea how. So it took me a while, but then I really sat down. I was like, all right, how have I made money in real estate? Period. First deal, second deal, third deal, fourth deal. How have I made money in real estate? And it was always me giving the tools to other people to have them generate the lead, and then I just connected a closer. And that's what I did. So I started putting together a community on Discord. What I would do is I would drive around the city and I'd record myself. Hey, you guys, I'm knocking these doors. This is what's going on, blah, blah, blah. Very much like Pace Morby did in the beginning. Yeah. But I didn't connect the two. And I was like, hey, I'm Tuesdays, Wednesdays, I'm going door knocking. Anybody wants to join? Let's load up the car. In the beginning, dude, nobody called me. Nobody hit me up. Nothing happened. And then after a while, like after a couple of weeks, I would be like overbooked. And I was like, dude, I need a van. I need a van. At one point, we would get people that had vans and we load it up with like 6, 7 people and we drive around the neighborhood. And people loved it. Knock doors, talk to homeowners, you know, and then it's like stopping auctions and sitting down in houses. And the feeling that Abdul gave me with that first day that I knocked with him, I was giving it to other people. And they had the same problem that I had, is like they hated cold calling. They were tired of people hanging up on the phones with them, and they would rather be out at the doors talking to homeowners. It's a little bit easier, but also kind of hard at the same time. Yeah. And first year in doing this, after that $200,000 opportunity, we did about 1.4 gross. And a small part of it went to me, but a bunch of other people made a whole lot of money that year. And this year, I think we're on track to make 2 million by the end of 2025. Same thing. One of our, Amelia, who's on our team, I think she's gotten like 9 listings this year from us alone. You know, we have a mailman who's made like $70,000 just knocking doors on the weekend. You know, we have Emma is now project manager. And, you know, so it's like the coolest thing about the Discord and the door knock community is that I've grown, I've developed a lot, but then also seeing my teammates like going from having imposter syndrome, which we all start off with imposter syndrome, to being like, yeah, we can buy your house. Yeah, we can stop your auction, which is tomorrow. Yeah, we can do this. Yeah, we can do that. And just like seeing that mindset growth and development, oh man, it's like one of the best things in the world.
Whew, just hearing your story gives me goosebumps, man. Seriously.
Yeah.
Like, I want to applaud you like for what you're doing, but there's 2 questions I really want to ask you.
Yeah.
Number one is, we talked about orbiting and just trying different things within, once you immerse yourself into a community and you're like, okay, I can try this, I can try that, see if I like this, I like that, and see if I can make this a sustainable long-term thing that I want to do, right? We talked about that. And for those that are starting off and they need to find their path right now, right? What kind of advice would you give them? Because you've been through it. You finally found your partner who's you're going to be, you know, in it for a very, very long time. And you're doing very great things. You're, you know, giving back and building a community with him along building a successful business. And by the way, guys, it's a myth that you can't make money during downturn. Look at this guy. He's growing his business from $1 million to $2 million. So it's definitely, it's just a limited belief, right? That everyone's living in fear in this market. There's people still spending money. You just have to know where to look for. But yeah, going back to what I was asking is, what advice would you give with these people? You know, how long should they stay orbiting to something? Because I'm sure at some point when you did all these different kinds of things, I can raise capital, I can do co-living, I can buy and hold. There's a point where you're like, okay, I'm not making today's money.
Yeah.
Some of this stuff could be long term. Like, you know, I'm not, the money might not come in as quickly as I like it to be, right?
Yeah.
So then you focus more on flipping, which is like today money, wholesaling today.
Yeah.
Money. So any advice you have for the audience?
So the journey is typically this: you go wide, capital raising, you try door knocking, you try cold calling and direct aging, you tried everything. You go wide, you find the one thing, whatever it is, stop going a mile wide, eventually start going a mile deep. So I remember, like, in the very beginning, it's like, okay, everybody wants to bring value to somebody, right? People reach out to me all the time, like, Mike, how can I bring value to you? How can I bring value to you? It's really hard for me to say because I'm just like, I don't know what you're willing to do, right? Hormozy talks about this a lot, where it's like, if you really want to find like a good hire, I would ask you, like, all right, Jim, on your free time, what do you do? And if you're like, oh, I'm gaming, I'm whatever, I do this, I go, bike riding on the weekends, I do all that stuff. And then I talk to the next guy and it's like, hey, Mike, what do you do? Because all I do is I live and breathe real estate. I'm underwriting deals, I'm looking on Zillow, I'm talking to agents, I'm trying to raise capital. I know this guy and that guy, and I'm just putting myself out there. I want to work with Mike, right? I don't want to work with the person. And it's not that I don't want to work with them, but like, as far as return on my time and my investment into somebody, it's like, I'm going to get more out of this person than I will out of you. Like, I'll hold your hand through the process, but I won't drag you through the process. So pick one thing and go deep on it. If you don't understand how to underwrite, spend a month, watch all the underwriting videos. Jamil has, straight out of comping, watch all the videos, right? And if you really want to get a better understanding on comping, like, comp your own house, comp your aunt's house, comp your uncle's house, comp like family, like, all right, if I was going to buy my mom's house, what would be a cash offer for her? If I was going to do a subject to, how would I do a wrap deal on my own house? Like, so come with some kind of training, right? I talked about wasting time, doing all the things. Like, you don't waste time, because all that time that I thought I was wasting is what brought value to Abdul, because Abdul is not the best underwriter, right? He doesn't really like to comp. He just wants to go in there, negotiate, and get contracts signed. Yeah. So a lot of the value that I brought to him is he would shoot me an address, and because I spent so much time underwriting when I wasn't making any money, when nobody was interested in my underwriting skills, I then found the partner that he needed that. He needed me to put in all those hours so that he can then leverage me and I can leverage him and we can make money together. So if you could, go to meetups. If you're on SubTo, go to the Daily Dials. If you're in any other mentorships, if they have like a meeting, go and be loud. Go, just be loud. Just put yourself out there. Because I met my first mentor in SubTo because I did a role play. Worst role play ever. I was embarrassed. I'm like, what, light skins, tomato red. It was just like, I tried to say something and the trainer would cut me off because I wasn't doing the right thing. I wasn't asking the right questions, but I powered through it. As tough, as embarrassing as it was, I toughed through it. And then after that, I got a call. Hey, Mike, I saw you on the Daily Dial. I saw your number. I think you got something. I love that you put yourself out there. Why don't you come and meet me? I'm having an underwriting session, and boom, 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 boom. And then that started off my little journey. But put yourself out there. Talk to people. If you don't know, tell people, hey, I don't know. I tell a lot of people that are getting started, you have three things. You either have time, you have money, or you have relationships, right? You can have two, but you're usually lacking one. So right now, I have relationships, I have money, I don't have a lot of time. If you have time and you don't have money, but you know me, then that's the relationship, right? So use your time to bring me value. Hey, Mike, I can go door knock for you. Hey, Mike, I can make cold calls. Or let's say you don't have time, but you have money and you have relationships. Hey, Mike, I don't have time to go door knock, but I have these funds that is just kind of sitting in my savings account and I really want to put my money to work. Do you have any flips that are coming? Right? But if you're getting started, put yourself out there. Somebody will notice you. And if they haven't, you need to talk more. Study the game a little bit more. Ask questions that you don't. Hey, I'm underwriting. I don't know what ARV is. I'm practicing underwriting. What does a flipper like to purchase their properties at? And then a flipper will catch wind of you and be like, hold on here. Let me show you something. Yeah. I bought this property. I bought it here. And these are why the numbers are the way they were. If you find something, now you just made that connection. Like, oh, now I know Mike. Now I know David. Now I know this person. Hey, Mike, I'm working on this property. This agent brought it to me. I think we're kind of close to something. Can you take a look at it? Like, dude, I love this guy. Calls me all the time, has an opportunity, kind of. It does not working out, but I can guide him through that process and get to the goal he wants to get to. Because people in real estate, there are some bad apples, but for the most part, what I love about real estate versus medicine is so many of us are focused on self-development that if you see somebody trying to develop themselves, like, you want to help that person. Bro, read this book, do this, I do that. This will work for me, it could work for you. And you'll naturally put that frequency out there and others around that same frequency will gravitate to you.
Yeah, so I 100% concur on that statement. When you mentioned about put yourself out there, that's how I had to do when I actually disliked networking and meeting people as an introvert, and I was always just hide in the back of the room and not make a sound. That's how I showed up. I just, consistently show up even though I didn't want to be there. And then eventually actually started to like networking because I developed a skill set for it.
Yeah.
Putting myself out there, like you said, starting my own real estate meetup, doing this podcast show with you. And I just got more and more comfortable talking. And so I think it's a very powerful thing. I think showing up is really half the battle.
Yeah. I tell people every day, I don't care what you do. If you're busy with work and you got kids at home and this and that, 15-minute video on how to comp a property, 15-minute video on sales, pace more, just as long as every day you do something related to your goal, it's harder to fall off the horse.
Yeah.
Even though if you're like, I haven't done anything in X amount of months, it's like, but you watch videos.
Yeah.
You're doing something still. You're keeping it fresh. You're keeping that vibration on the forefront.
We're getting pretty short on time, but I still want to ask you this question.
Go for it.
What's the most challenging, surprising, unexpected deal that you did with Abdul throughout the years?
Yeah, no, we've done quite a bit. I think the one that's still, we didn't win this one.
That's okay.
So usually your biggest lessons comes from your losses.
Yes.
And this one, I feel like I didn't have the skills needed to do what I needed to do to get the job done. And I talked to the seller after this. She ended up homeless. She ended up living in her car with her and her boyfriend. I'll start like how it ended. Property was lost to foreclosure. She ended up homeless in her car. She has medical conditions. So she's like dealing with all this stuff that she's going on with her and her boyfriend. Her dad had a heart attack after they lost the property in foreclosure. Her mom fell and broke it. Like all within like 30 days after the property sold.
Wow.
Abdul and I talked to her and we're like, and this is how good the relationship was. We lost the property and she was still calling us because we were trying to help her relocate. Like we were still trying to help her find a place to live. But we asked her like, hey, what was it that we could have done to get it to the closing table? And she told us, she was like, nothing. There's like nothing you guys could have said that would have probably changed the outcome of my life. And we asked her like, why? She goes, well, because I was so confused. I was so scared that I wasn't able to make a decision, that there's nothing you could have said. I had too much chaos going on in my life. What ended up happening was after I got our second deal, and funny enough, once you get your first deal, the second one comes faster and then so does the third. And you build on this momentum. But she was our third contract that we got. And what ended up happening was lessons that I learned. Talk to everybody in the house. Talk to everybody in the house. You're getting a deal done with the seller. If they live with their husband, they live with their daughter, they live with their mom and their dad, and this was a situation this way. She had her brother who was addicted to drugs that lived in the garage. We talked to the brother, we talked to the daughter, we talked to the seller, the boyfriend. We didn't talk to her parents. We had one or two conversations, and her mom was what they call like a black swan. We thought everybody was on board, but the mom wasn't. So when we were there and we were trying to help them relocate, we had agreed on a price. They were going to walk away with like $40,000. The mom was reaching out to real estate agents. The mom was reaching out to family members, was reaching out to attorneys.
How'd you guys find out?
They told us at the end of
Afterwards.
it. Once your seller goes from picking up your phone calls and everything is fine to just like, I don't really know about you guys. Like, are you guys, they're telling me you're trying to steal my property and my equity and this and that. We're like, who's telling you this? And then we find out, her best friend was an attorney who was not even a foreclosure or bankruptcy attorney. It was just like a family law attorney and was like butting in. They connected with the real estate agent and then that agent brought in their broker and then they tried to list the property and we had it just got super messy towards the end of it. And Abdul's really good at kind of picking these things out. But he has so many other things going on that he can't be there for every single lead, right? So the lead generator is responsible for that lead. And I didn't have the skills in the follow-up game to stay in front of them as much as I needed to and then talk to grandma. And then I still had imposter syndrome. I didn't have the confidence to go in there and be like, I'm going to buy your house. So that one was rough, hearing that, they walked away with nothing. I think they walked away with like 5,000. Whoever bought it at auction gave them it's fun. They got him out quicker than we could. The person who bought it at auction told them, hey, $7,000. If you don't leave in 30 days, it's going to go down to 5. What do you want to do? Yeah. Grandma, dad and mom went to her sister's house. The brother ended up on the streets. Her daughter moved in with her boyfriend and she was living in her car.
Jeez.
Yeah. So that one hurt. Still hurts, as you can tell, because it's like, God has recently reintroduced himself, or I've recently started leaning more towards God. But so I pray to God, put me in front of people that I can help. I don't ask for money, I don't ask for deals, but I pray to God, put me in front of people that I can help. Whether it's, people want to get started in real estate or homeowners going through something terrible. Same thing, and that's why I went to medicine. I like to help people. I was put in a position that I could have helped somebody, I just didn't have the skills. And maybe I needed to fail that person to help out the next 100 people.
That's exactly what I was about to say. I think that painful experience must have taught you something like, I need to get better and so I can serve more people.
Yeah. So you don't lose, you learn, right? And if you don't learn, then you're really lost. That's what I tell like our teammates, where they're like, dude, I did so much work for this person and I didn't get paid on this. It's like, yeah, bro, like take these lessons, take it to the next person. That loss is going to help you make way more money and help way more people than if you would have gotten that win. Because you don't really learn anything. You get the paycheck, you're like, yeah, on to the next one. What'd you learn? I got money. It's like, no, you lose and you're like, all right, let's debrief. What could you have done better? I could have done this, and this. Cool. Take that to the next client.
Absolutely. All right, let's shift gears a little bit. So what do you do for fun? Like, what's your passion and hobby outside of real estate?
Yeah. So remember I gave the example of like the person that does fishing and this and that.
Yeah.
I live and breathe real estate.
Okay.
So my passion, what I love to learn about, besides like spending time with the family, like I just took them to Disneyland. Great time.
Yeah.
My daughter plays volleyball, so I love taking her to there. Whatever my kids want to do, I try to 10x their experience. My daughter's playing volleyball. I bought a volleyball net. We have 10 volleyballs at home. Her friend's dad, who's also in real estate, like they all come over. So we talk shop, real estate, and then the kids are playing volleyball. So like what I like to do in my free time is spend it with the family, spend it with the kids. And my daughters are at the point where like they're hanging out with their family and friends. And then, we go bowling together. And so it's more family. Yeah. If I'm not in real estate, I'm with my family. If I'm not with my family and I have free time, then I'm studying sales. I'm studying leadership. I'm studying systems and processes. If I'm sleeping, I'm underwriting deals in my sleep. Like I'm negotiating deals. Like I revisit, I'll have vivid dreams of like renegotiating a deal that went wrong. But I'm watching like a bunch of Hormozy videos and things like that. So
awesome,
yeah. So it's like family and then my passion, which is real estate. Or like whatever comes with real estate. Sales, leadership, growth, development, all that stuff.
Yeah. It sounds like in this episode you shared a lot that's very family oriented.
Yeah.
Since the beginning, you want to take care of your family. That was when you discover your why through the nursing and real estate. And now you want to continue to build that legacy.
Yeah.
For yourself, for your the rest of the generation, and you're building a family within your community too.
Yeah.
If you think about it, right? That's your work family. So I think that's we definitely get that from you. What's one fun, surprising factor that people don't know about you?
I talk about family and community and all this other stuff. I have two sisters. One of them who's like 2 years younger than me, and then I have somebody who's like she just turned 21. But we don't have the best relationship. I don't know what happened. So a lot of times, like we'll come up in self-development. We're doing this. Everything's great. Life is amazing. I have a relationship with my younger sister that I don't have, and I still can't figure it out.
Okay.
But that's probably the one surprising thing where people are like, dude, you got your family, you got your parents, you got your other sister, and this and that. But I have a sister that's like, so very much the way that I put it, I'm the Itachi to her Sasuke.
Interesting.
Right. And but I didn't do the thing to the village. You know what I mean? Like I didn't do the part to the village. So
nothing that drastic.
I didn't do anything that drastic. My parents are alive. I love them, all the things. But I have a sister who's really struggling. She had her things growing up. And, I'm like, I could have been a better brother. My parents could have been better parents. But I have a relationship where I'm okay being the Itachi to her Sasuke, where she might feel a certain way towards me, but everything Itachi did was kind of shielding his, he shielded his brother, always protected him and this and that. So not everything is all amazing. Right? But that's a lot of people don't know that about me.
Thanks for being vulnerable, by the way, and sharing this. Appreciate your authenticity as always. I definitely have a program to recommend you for something like this. I love it. I don't know if you've ever heard of Landmark Forum.
No, I haven't.
But definitely look, we'll talk more about it. It's basically, it's a show where you discover your blind spot, what you don't know.
Yeah.
So based on the environment, how we're raised by our parents, the friends that influence us when we're young, and our experiences most of all, that as a kid, we might have developed some type of trauma.
Yeah.
And we always live with this trauma and take this with us everywhere we go when making decisions. And we make decisions based on the trauma that we had in the past. And so it's holding us back in some ways, preventing us from having a beautiful relationship with your family, with your friends, with your strangers, so forth. You're basically operating from a space of emptiness in a sense that you can create the world of possibility. It sounds kind of weird and funky, but it really does help you discover more about yourself. And why is it that I don't have the relationship I want with this person? Why is it that I hold grudges against my past, my exes? There's all this stuff that you discover about yourself. So I think it's a very powerful program. If someone like you, I think you would be very interested because you're all about that self-growth, development and all that. But if you can also get your sister to take that course, it would be very beneficial for both of you guys.
That'd be great because I did a lot of healing on my own because I was very angry growing up, a bunch of stuff that I felt.
Me too. I had that issue too.
So I was like, there's a lot of things that I just felt.
A lot of suppressed emotion.
It's like you're angry and you don't know why you're angry. And then you like figure it out, and then you just become a crying mess. You know, like I went to, again, Hormozy. I quote Hormozy. I love him and his team, but I lack the skill of transferring skill in some parts of my life. And I took that, you know, they did it in my real estate bus. When they said that, they're like, if you're trying to show somebody the way and they're just not getting it, it's just, you lack the skill of transferring skills. And when it came to my sister, you know, I can motivate you, I can motivate everybody on the team to get better and self-reflection, but I think it's just because we're so close, and as far as like, you know, being blood related, I don't have the skills to transfer the skills that I want to her for like forgiveness and understanding and all that other stuff. But maybe this might give me something that I can be like, maybe I'm not the person that helps her find the answer. Maybe it's this group, or maybe it's that group, and trying to connect them.
I totally relate. I also have an older sister, 9 years apart. She's older than me, and I have pretty much similar relationship as what you have with your sister. And it's hard because I want the best for her. You know? We're still siblings, but just like you said, because we're blood related, it's hard for me to transfer my skill set. Like she sees what I'm doing, she admires it, but then somehow she doesn't, you know, take any sort of action towards making her life better.
When I was a nurse and I would do home health visits, I would sit down here, talk to the family, and then the patient would go up and go to the bathroom. And I'd look at the wife, I'd look at the daughter, and I was like, hey, what's the one thing that you're telling to do, but they won't do? And then they'll be, oh, tell them to do this, 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 and this. And then they come back, and I was like, all right, John, you got to take your blood pressure medication. You got to shower like twice a week. And then they would like, because I said it, they would then listen. But when they said it, it was like, it just wasn't going through.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah, oh my gosh.
I go through that every day with like my family, you know? Or even just my exes. Like, you know, hearing it from me, it's not registering.
Yes.
But then somehow hearing from like a total stranger, a third party, it's like, oh, now it makes sense to them.
Yeah. But it happens to us even like outside of that. Like
I'm guilty of that too.
Yeah, it happens to us all the time. We just don't know about it. Like somebody will say something, I'm like, dude, that's really smart. And then my girl's like, dude, I've been telling you this for months. I'm like, oh, sorry, babe. Like maybe you were using the wrong tone. I don't know.
Maybe it's the language in the context. I feel like I was being criticized.
That's funny. She's like, I've been telling you to take out the trash for weeks, and your mom tells you, and all of a sudden.
Oh man, I'm enjoying this conversation so much that we gotta end with this question. What would you do if you weren't in real estate?
If I wasn't in real estate, I would probably still be in medicine. I'd probably be probably still. I love the ER. I love trauma. Not like, you know, unfortunate events will happen, but I love, I just love being in those high intense situations where it's like, you don't know how it's going to turn out, and you're hoping your skill set and your teams will be able to handle the situation. So emergency medicine all the way.
That's very cool. Cool. All right.
Southern California is what we focus on. If you're not in Southern California, you can still hit me up. Just like you're a connector, I'll connect you to wherever you're at. I know people nationwide through our SubTo community. But that's it, man. Yeah, you can do it. You just have to be willing to fail long enough to get there. And, you know, we can help you guys get there. So we have the tools, we have the resources, we have the experience, and we have the know-how how to just transfer skills from us to you.
Yeah, fail hard, fail fast, and fail forward, right? And so make sure to give him a follow. Man, this guy is killing it out there, and I really admire what you're doing. And so make sure if you guys have any questions, reach out to his team, reach out to Michael. He's a go-giver.